argue for what was to come, because there was no indication that she was a great artist. She was not her own producer, and she wrote all of the songs with different people, or didn't even write them. So, in other words, it just seemed like she was another disco singer.
Madonna also travelled to Britain on a short promotional tour, and here it was obvious to many that she was not just another disco diva. Journalist and DJ Chris Needs interviewed her on her arrival and was then instantly won over by her performance at a London club.
She already had that New York culture, and it was very easy for us to assimilate the New York culture in London. She did her first gig at the Camden Palace she performed Everybody, and I think she might have done Holiday. She only did 2 songs. Holiday wasn't out yet. 2 songs, 2 dancers, and a backing tape. This was a very... I mean, now it's accepted that, you know, a lot of singers go on stage with a backing tape and 2 dancers, but this wasn't done then. I mean, she knew the moves. There's a difference between disco dancing and effective club dancing. I mean, you always think of disco dancing as Saturday Night Fever, but she was beyond that, really, because she lent this kind of balletic quality to it, and a lot had to do with image. She wasn't wearing an afro wig and well, not till later, you know, but she realised she was going to have to put over some kind of theatrical stage show.
In the early days of Madonna's career, she really was charting a territory that was kind of unknown for white artists. She was going into dance music and kind of this, you know, post-disco moment where a lot of like white female singers hadn't really gone before. And I think that she was even controversial right from that very moment for doing that kind of music in those days, when, you know, it kind of wasn't acceptable for somebody from her racial background to do that.
A lot of her music was a lot of like trying to fit in with what was going on at the time. Lucky Star, for instance, is very, very early 80s New York sound with a drum machine and some things. And I think that she was still trying to find her sound. But she had a girlish quality, and it was very, I remember that, and I wasn't there for this, but I remember them saying she danced in the studio to make sure the song was danceable.
MTV in the video age brought both audience and artist into a much closer relationship, and Madonna paid avid attention to the demands of this new medium. The new generation of pop stars would have to be performers of a different kind, with both an instantly recognizable image and a powerful visual identity.
Everyone is a product of their cultural moment, and she is definitely a product of hers, coming out at the dawn of video, when image is important to the music.
You can see that she arrives at a right time. That is to say, Michael Jackson has just peaked, although we didn't know it at the time. Thriller came out in late '82. She is helping, along with the British Invasion artists, to popularize MTV, and this is what she will be canny enough to take advantage of.
It was really just beginning as a national outlet. You know, the first 6 months that it started, it wasn't even in New York, you know, so it definitely took a while for it to catch on. But it created an opportunity for artists who were more visually oriented to exploit the new medium, you know, and she was one of the first to really use it. At a certain time, you know, the joke was that the M in MTV stood for Madonna.
She will become the first leading female video artist. And as such, she and Michael Jackson seem to be a historical pair because they are the king and queen of video, because they made the most of it when people were still being impressed by it.
End of 81, early 82, there were no female artists on the record charts. So timing-wise, it was perfect for Madonna. Actually, Cyndi Lauper was just starting at the same time.
Most of the kind of smart money at that time was on Cyndi Lauper as being the one who would last, and Madonna as being the kind of fly-by-night, and it turned out exactly the other way.
Cyndi Lauper had as many hits off her first album as Madonna did, but it turned out that's all she had.
Madonna's always had a very strong visual sense. It doesn't just totally come from her, though. She's extremely good at picking collaborators at the right time. And for instance, the early boy toy look, that was something that she constructed with Maripol, who's this French jewellery designer, who was one of her sort of New York clubbing friends. And Maripol helped to design the bracelets and all the baubles and the crucifix, and just really helped her create that look.
So very, very downtown, very grungy, and it was very cool looking.
Well, I think it began as a more organic sexuality. You know, she looked like someone that you might actually meet on the street. Kind of dirty, dark roots, you know, not very well put together.
The main thing is it was an extension of the punk ethic in that you could go to a thrift shop, and there was certainly a lot of them in New York at that time, and you could kick yourself out for $1, you know, just make a few adjustments, same as punk.
It was with the release of her second album, Like a Virgin, in 1984, that Madonna truly caught the public attention. Not only did it deliver hit singles, the videos accompanying them showed that Madonna was a new breed of white female performer.